I'm Max Maxwell, and I'm a tracker. Animals and people, they're both fair game. I'm on a quest to track wild creatures in some of the most hostile environments on Earth. Among them are rare and endangered species, so I'll be joined by locals and experts to take on this mammoth challenge. Each journey is certain to be a breathtaking adventure where I'll learn new skills and be pushed to the limit. But however determined I am, there are no guarantees. In this episode, I'll be learning new techniques.
That's huge.
As I search for Namibia's desert-dwelling elephant.
This ellie is not far away. I can't miss it this time. I've come to Namibia on a quest to find the elusive desert elephant. As a child, I heard about them. I heard they were huge, but I had no idea what a massive expanse of wilderness we're going to have to look through to track it down. Namibia covers an area of over 300,000 square miles, most of it desert and bush. To learn how elephants and humans survive here, I'm going to spend time with the semi-nomadic Himba tribe on the outskirts of Kamanyap. I'm then going to the dry Hobbiteri River basin to see how elephant numbers are being monitored. Then it's off to the Hobbiteri bush, where I'll try to see for myself the elephant in the wild. This desert country is home to a whole array of animals that you would expect in Africa, from lion to giraffe and springbok. And the elephant is no exception. But to live here, they've had to adapt to survive in desert conditions. I need to know more about this terrain before I get on the trail of the Ellies. So I'm spending time with the people of the desert, the Himba tribe. Yeah, good to meet you. Good to see you. How's things?
Good, good.
I meet Yaku Berger, my guide, while I'm here. But first, I must get approval from the queen of this village.
I think you can sit here.
Okay.
Then I will see where she is and I will bring her to you then.
Okay. What is it? It's such a thriving community. I just had a moment to sit around and absorb the atmosphere, and there's things just happening all over the place. There's a lady cleaning her hut here. There's a goat giving birth over there. Little boy washing his face. And the cattle have just arrived. It's a real happening place. But in the 1980s, it appeared the Himba way of life was coming to a close, devastated by severe drought and war. 90% of Himba cattle died, the center of their economy and identity. Today, there's a resurgence. The Himba tribe have rebuilt their herds, maintained control of their lands, and have kept their traditional semi-nomadic lifestyle, relocating to search for new pasture. Yeah.
Nawa.
Pervi?
Nawa.
Nawa? I'd like to thank the Queen for allowing us to come into her village. And I've come here to find the desert elephant. Can she tell us something about them?
Sometimes they are more together because they have also babies as well. Yeah. And Mamutira. Yeah, she said they are quite dangerous if you come in their way and they can even kill you.
Words of warning from the Queen, but I won her approval. So Mutui, a Himba tracker, joins us as we head into the bush, and he's keen to show off his skills. I always find it's a really good way of bonding with someone, is to have a bit of a competition, spear throwing, firing an arrow, and this can always work out really embarrassing. And by looking at our tracker, I think he's a pretty good shot.
Hey! Ayoti!
We're actually aiming for the cardboard box there. And that was a really good shot. Even better. Straight in. Mutui, how old were you when you started to shoot like that?
wari na mbura inga pichi mutu ku ngura binani.
Yo menda mbula mulongo ne.
Wari na. He said about 10 years old when he was big like that.
About 10 years old?
Yes.
Yeah. And did you learn it from your father or grandfather?
Wahongwa une. Wahongwa tate wepo.
Tate walubindo ndino watate.
He said my father and also the older adults have teach me.
Passing on knowledge is vital for communities like the Himba to thrive and maintain tradition. And Mutui seems to have been a good student, but how will I compare? Okay, Mutui is going to show me how to shoot his bow and arrow, so this could be really humiliating, but let's have a go. Mutui, can you show me how to do it, please? Okay, on the knuckle of the left. Okay, stand clear.
He said he's a good shot, but he can try harder. he must hit the box.
That sounds like my old school report. Could do better.
Yeah.
Let's try harder. Okay, this time we've got it. Oops. It was a bird. It was flying I was aiming for. Thank you very much. That was good, thanks. Mutui is certainly skilled with the bow and arrow, but the Himba also use plants when they're tracking.
So Max, for tomorrow morning you're going to need a piece of this over here. This is going to be your toothbrush for tomorrow morning, and it's coming from the mopani tree, the omutati tree.
This is the mopani tree. How long will it last me?
That will last you 1 day, because you must take every day fresh one. So maybe you can cut it there, a little bit far away.
So if I cut it about there and then use it for the rest of the
trip.
What kind of flavor is this, do you think?
There is this one, which is mopani. It's a little bit like mopani have a lot of turpentine inside it.
Okay.
So this one is going to be really cleaning.
In the bush, toothpaste can be smelled from a long distance, but at least using this mopani as a toothbrush, the elephants won't smell me. And with a sense of smell 10 times better than a dog's, I won't want to give myself away. Okay, my toothbrush for the rest of the trip. Local bushcraft is useful, but it's not long before I find what I'm really after, my first evidence of the desert elephant. What's that?
That's elephant dung. We can read this is a cow having the dung at the same place where she have urined as well, where she have peed.
How old do you think this is?
That's about a month and a half old.
You can tell whether it's a male or female because in this area the sand is darker, and where the dung comes out is where she urinates exactly directly below. A male, the dung would come out the back end, and the urination point of the darker sand would be just ahead of it. Jakob, there's dung around here. What do they do with dung?
Elephant dung is one of the biggest medicines in the Himba culture. Elephant dung can be used for treating like asthma when you have some lung problems or breathing problems, where you will take a little piece of this, put it on a hot coal and inhale it. Also it's used for headaches as well, stomach pains, and then also for arthritis and diseases like that. The elephant is an animal with a lot of magic and strength, so people believe if you treat with this type of things you will be also becoming strong and good as the elephant too.
Well, this is certainly what we're looking out for. When we head north from here, we want to see more of this, but I didn't know that you could tell the sex of the animal just by looking at the dung and where it had urinated in the vicinity. Finding elephant dung will certainly help me when I strike out on my own, but being able to read the land could be just as useful. Jaco, I noticed that this has got a V in the trail, and I know that animals always take the path of least resistance, and they'll always do that because, one, it's silent, but also there's nothing underneath their feet. But I wonder why this is doing this shape like that in a Y or a V.
This is the the V you can see over here, one path coming from that direction, and then the other one coming from that direction. So you have a V over here, all pointing in one direction over here, which is telling you this is the way to the waterhole. So when you are in the veld and you don't really know what to look for anymore, then you just follow that little animal path and you will get to water.
If we're actually looking for any desert elephant, I'm sure it will use a road as well. So we've got a really good chance when we move north with these skills, we're going to find tracks of the desert elephant very quickly. I've learned lots about the elephant from the Himba, but I also find out more about how the tribe survive in this environment. That looks sore. I'm really interested in the color of this of the skin and how that's prepared.
The red ochre is protecting against the sun. It protects against coldness. It's an antiseptic, and also it's a totally hair remover. The Himba people are never ever using any water to wash with. There is no water. Namibia is a desert country. Water is very scarce. So they're using the red ochre and the butterfat to clean themselves. Not even in the time of menstruation or giving birth, water is used. Water is just too expensive and too scarce. You want to try?
Yes, please. Yes, it has. It doesn't feel greasy or anything like that. It seems to be...
It's gonna make, your skin is going to be much smoother and nicer on that department where you have get the red ochre than on this hand.
And the hairs are going to fall out.
No, not in one treatment. You won't be so lucky.
My time with the Himba is over, but before I leave, there's time for a few final words of advice. It's been a childhood dream of mine to track the desert elephant. Has anyone here got any advice for me when I go on my journey to find the elephant?
First of all, tomorrow when you start to track your elephants, look always how the wind is blowing. Wind direction, very important. They have a very sensitive smell. They can smell very sensitively. So always when the wind is coming like now, you must be always downwind with these animals.
Yaku, it's been a great honor to be invited into the village and to meet the tribe. And they've helped me on my journey tremendously.
Yeah, she says thank you very much. Tomorrow she will cry if you leave.
I've learned so much from these people here today. I'm ready for my journey. My time with the Himba has shown me what a harsh environment this is. Average rainfall is often less than 50 millimeters a year, so the desert elephant must really be a specialist if it is to survive in the wilderness. To find out more about these giants, I'm going north to the dry Namib River Basin to meet desert elephant expert Dr. Keith Leggett. And with over 10 years in the field, Keith knows all there is to know about finding them. The one thing I've noticed as soon as we've arrived into this area is that I feel it's timeless.
When you look at this landscape, this place it's the oldest desert in the world. It's 15 million years old, this actual desert. And the landscape you see is a very old landscape.
Doesn't that scare you being out here on your own?
No, it doesn't scare you, no. If you get scared, then you wouldn't leave your house. You've got to be aware of what's around you, and you've got to have a good idea of the possible dangers involved in being out here. And again, the biggest threat you'd face is a car breakdown, for instance, and you're running out of water. So we normally these days, in the modern era anyway, as I'm getting older, I carry satellite phones with me these days. So if anything truly goes wrong, I'll just ring somebody to come and get me.
They'll hopefully come and get you. So animals have adapted and kind of created this ecological niche in these areas.
Everything that lives in a desert anywhere is a specialist in survival, or they'll die.
This is such a vast area. How do you know where the elephants are going to be?
Well, I've GPS collared a number of the elephants. Now, GPS collars are such a significant advancement in technology from what we used to use, which were the old telemetry collars, that they just uplink to a satellite and they download to my office in Uchu, which has a computer. So I just get a GPS location. Now, if you can imagine, that's not particularly good. If I'm sitting in Uchu, it's brilliant, but when I'm out here, I can't get the download to any computer or anything because I don't carry one. But I still have to know where they are. Now, luckily, we've still got the telemetry available to us. And I've brought a collar with us today, which we'll show you before we go into the field, so we can pick them up on a radio signal rather than being on satellite. Right, this is the telemetry equipment, which is still in its box, of course, but we transport it easier. And what they have is an antenna we use. Right, these are the antennas. And we assemble those. You've got 2 long ones, 2 short ones. Long ones go to the back, like that. You can do that. And the short ones in the front. And these are the collars that we use on the elephants. Yeah, this sits around the neck of the elephant. That satellite unit is in the top there, in that fiberglass casing at the top. That has to stay at the top of the neck of the elephant because it has to link up to the satellite. So we use a counterbalance at the bottom here. The counterbalance sits between these holes and we bolt them together. And that then swings on the neck of the elephant like that. And that holds the counterbalance. So the counterbalance holds the satellite unit and firmly at the top of the elephant.
Oh, that's pretty heavy. Imagine.
That's it, you got it, right in the back of your neck. No, it'll sit on an elephant, it sits there. And that strings around the front.
So that's the size of an elephant's neck?
Size of that one's, yeah. And he's actually a pretty small elephant.
That's huge.
You got a GPS unit in the top, plus a set of batteries, plus a little telemetry system, a little radio signal system. And this is what we pick up the radio signal.
The desert elephants of Namibia are one of only 2 known populations in the world. The other group are in Mali. To survive in this arid environment, they consume less food and water than other African elephants, and their feet are larger to cope with the soft desert terrain. As we delve further into a dry river basin, we rig up the radio tracking system. This will tell us if any of Keith's collared elephants are close by.
This thing will give us line of sight, and in a riverbed like this, up to 4 or 5 kilometres. So
And what noise would it make when we hear, or when we're close to an elephant, 4 to 5 kilometres?
there's a dull thud coming through. Now that's just a little bit of interference. Now when we get closer, it becomes very high-pitched, and it's probably kicking up a little bit of interference from the cars, the electronics in the cars.
So with no luck on the radio tracking, we take an educated guess as to which direction to go next. If you were an elephant, which way would you move down here?
I would look, if you look here in the valley, you'd look where the hardest substrate is because they're such a big animal. And this is why you sometimes see them walking in car tracks, the old car tracks, because it's the hardest substrate. Walking on sand, soft sand, takes a lot out of an elephant.
Although they consume less than their other African cousins, desert elephants still put away a huge amount of food, up to 1/4 of a ton every day. Tubers and grasses are eaten when the rains periodically make them available, but most of their diet is made up of trees.
This is a Hobbiteri albita tree, these big trees, and they're coming in to feed on those things. So they're starting to now scavenge around the bottom of the trees for the seeds that have fallen, and seed pods that have fallen.
In the search for food, elephants will even use their tusks to strip off bark or dislodge seeds.
If you look on this branch of this tree up here, Max, you can see a scar, which is just about about 6 metres off the ground, and there you can see the tusk marks into that branch. That means the elephants had to get up 6 metres to tusk that branch. So it's a fairly long way up for an elephant to reach.
I would say that is almost the height of a double-storied house. It's unbelievable that an elephant can get from there to there. Shall we head back? The elephant is certainly a specialist at survival in the desert, but it isn't the only one. What is it?
It's called a toktoki, or a telebrionic beetle, and they get the name toktoki because they hit their abdomens on the ground. What they do is when the fog comes like it did this morning, they invert themselves, and these ridges along the back of the shell, the carapace, they actually allow the fog to condense. And in that inverted position, then the drop runs down to its mouth and it drinks the water. So it's very active at the moment because it probably had some water this morning.
It's a very beautiful beetle. We'll leave the beetle behind, but not far from the tree, we find clues that we could be heading in the right direction.
What we've got here is we've got a front foot around there and a back foot. Now the reason, how you know it is because the front foot are always large. They're the largest of the prints. And the back foot is elongated and points like an arrow. So we can actually tell which direction they've gone because it's pointing down like that.
So we now know what direction the elephants are heading in, but the tracks are old. So to make up ground, we're back on the move. As we go along, I've just seen an elephant track. Definitely the biggest tracks I've ever seen. These are fresh tracks. They're a great opportunity to learn more about this elephant. Just look at the detail in this track. I can tell it's so fresh because the wind has picked up again. And if I had sand inside the track, little grits of sand, quite old. I've tracked elephant pretty much all over the world, wherever they exist, and I've never seen tracks as big as this. How is the desert elephant specially adapted?
The thing about them is that they get these large feet simply from walking on soft sand for their lives. Now, all elephants' feet will spread when they hit the surface, but if you're walking on a soft sand, your feet will spread further and further. He's actually a small-bodied bull, but he has a very large footprint, and that's simply from working on sand for a long period of time.
This is heading in the direction that we're going, almost down through the river. So we're not that far behind.
10 or 15k.
This is incredibly exciting. I think we'd better get back in the vehicles and get closer to the ellies. These tracks are a great clue that may help me find the elephant. But it's not just footprints I'm looking out for. Keith, I see we're getting loads of elephant dung, and I just wanted to have a closer look at it and get some facts from it. Does this tell us anything about what the elephant is eating?
Sure, you can actually get a very good guide about what the elephant's eating from the sticks and the bits of branches and seeds. You see there's a bit of mapani. And what we also notice is as the elephant deposits the dung, it gets coated with mucus as it comes through the colon. This outside skin we can take off, and it's what we use for genetic analysis. So it tells us who's in the genetic complete DNA of the elephant.
If I was an elephant here, I'd be really worried about how often I had to drink. It's a dry, arid desert. How much do they drink at a go in one?
Up to about 200 litres on an adult male. This is normal for most savanna elephants, but what it seems to be the unique about these guys is they can make that last, whereas most elephants need to drink every 24 to 48 hours. There's plenty of water out here if you're an elephant. It's few and far between, and the very land itself can't support large numbers of elephants. But the thing about it is they know where all the water holes are. They can smell water up to a metre underground, so they're quite happy about moving long distance away from water and coming back to it.
The dung is fresh, so we know the elephants are close. Keith's radio tracking system now comes into its own to pinpoint their exact location.
Continuing around, the signal gets weaker again over here, so it gets stronger there, and the strength in the signal increases through there.
Well, that's sharp. I could hear that myself. Beep, beep.
And then we continue this side. the signal decreases again.
Decreases. So it sounds to me that your elephant is straight ahead.
That is correct. That's where I think he is.
So we inch forward. Somewhere ahead of me is my first Namibian desert elephant. But these large animals aren't as easy to spot as you might think.
We're about 50 metres away from the elephant at the moment, and what we're looking at is how elephants can actually hide in very, very small amounts of bush, and this is what makes them dangerous. It's quite possible to drive past him at the moment or walk past him and you never see he was actually there, and it just blends perfectly into the shadow of that tree.
The average desert elephant would normally measure 3 meters in height and weigh around 6 tons, but this one is even bigger.
You really would never guess he was there, and that's a 3 meter 20 elephant, high at the shoulder.
I gotta tell you this now. That elephant, when I first saw him, I didn't think was that big because he was standing on a bank. But I gotta tell you now, that's huge. This Ellie's the height of a big truck. He looks relaxed and unfazed. But then, in a sudden display of strength, another male crashes in on our left.
His penis is out, so that's the first sign of aggression.
But this was just a mock charge from a juvenile, so we stand our ground and he quickly calms down. As Keith said, his penis came out and he came into the shade.
It's just that initial burst, and it's probably worked out that we're no threat. That elephant is dragging his trunk on the ground. That is the most relaxed an elephant can ever be.
Yeah.
That means he doesn't care we're here. It's amazing how they can go from that aggressive posture he had a couple of minutes ago back to completely relaxed when he realises that we're not a threat.
By the mid-80s, around 2/3 of the 800-strong population in the western areas were killed by poachers. But thanks to the work of people like Keith and the government's natural resource management programs, their numbers are recovering. Now there are around 600 elephants in the wild. We let these two head off into the bush. Keith is sure we can find out more of his collared elephants elsewhere. But before we start tracking, he wants to show me a different kind of evidence.
Okay, Max, these are some bones I thought you'd like to see. This is a 3-year-old carcass of an old male, and what happened, he died of natural causes, and this is all I could find.
Some years ago there was poaching and killing of elephants in this area. What's happened since then?
In the late 70s, early 80s, not only was there a drought, the South African military gave out a lot of ammunition and guns to local people to protect themselves from the insurgents during the war. Now that combination of drought and large amounts of weaponry around resulted in a massive die-off in the wildlife, in particular the elephants. About 1/3 of the elephant population was destroyed.
During all those problems that the elephants were having, would you say that they were nearly wiped out?
In this area, yes.
Well, it's a great honor to actually touch elephant bones, but we better carry on our search for the other elephant.
The live specimens.
Yep. And with Keith's inside knowledge, it's not long before we do find live elephants.
Okay, we have elephants in front of us. We have the breeding herd directly in front of us. Over.
So it's back on top of the 4x4 to see what's ahead. We're going into a dangerous area where the ellies come along this road, which is into a valley, and then they've spread out around us. So as we get drawn in by the big ones, we've also got to be very careful of elephants on our right and on our left. How big do you think that this herd is?
I think it's about 11.
11.
Herd of 11.
So we could have ellies all around here.
Go to left.
It's always a good idea when you're driving along like this to look behind you, because as you pass something like this, the elephant could be tucked in just behind that bush.
The best thing is to keep distance. I mean, nothing likes you to impinge on its personal space. So what you want to do is give them enough area that they can move away from you if they choose to. Now, if they choose to move towards you, that's their decision. All right, we'll just go up on this rise here.
We creep forward, scanning the area for members of this herd. Then suddenly, Ah, gotcha. Oh, Jesus, that's huge.
Side here, coming.
That is huge. All I can see is his ears flapping.
He is a monster.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. He's going up the tree. Another large male, and he's using his tusk to strip the tree of food, just as Keith described earlier. We're going to stop here and take stock of the situation. Here he comes. Look at the grace of that elephant. I'm trying really hard to listen to this elephant. I can hear him breathe, but I can't hear his feet go down on the ground. And as this male heads off, we spot another elephant, and it's another first for me. This is a charming moment. My quest was all about finding the classic desert elephant. I didn't for 1 minute expect to find a calf. Keith, I'm over the moon with this. It's just a cute little wiener. Elephants live in matriarchal societies, and young calves are tended by other females of the herd as well as their own mothers. Feeling protective, one of them ushers this calf to the cover of the bush. Seeing the elephants with Keith was an amazing experience. But it's time for me to head east to Hobbiteri to track and hopefully find for myself desert elephants in the Namibian bush. Just left Keith behind, and I'm slightly concerned and worried about what lies ahead. We're on our way to Hobbiteri camp, but I've got to say it's almost like getting your driver's license and your first chance to drive a car on your own. And some of the thoughts that are going through my mind are what's it going to be like tomorrow morning when I wake up and with the daunting challenge of having to look for an elephant and all the dangers that lie ahead and around us at the same time. Compared to Keith's methods, this really will be back to basics tracking. So as I arrive in Hobbiteri, I'm already reading the landscape around me. The first thing that I noticed, this looks like lion country, because it's got places where lions could come over here and lie in ambush. There's lots of food, because I've seen the tracks on the road. And what a perfect place for deer to come over the hill and a lion to pounce. And before long, my suspicions are confirmed. It's nearly the hottest part of the day, and I've just noticed that there are 2 lions on the move, and they've stopped to go underneath a tree. These are harsh conditions, and there's hardly any shade for those lions. The lioness has got her ears pinned back and looking really intent and focused. The 2 warthogs are heading in her direction, and she's hoping they're going to come closer. But at the moment, it's a waiting game. The lioness won't actually make a charge until she's guaranteed a kill, so the warthogs have got away this time. But later on, and maybe tonight, the outcome would be completely different. The warthogs leave the lions behind, and so do I, as I head further into Hobbiteri. Tomorrow will be my first day tracking the desert elephant on my own. Got up early this morning to zone in. I've come to this high point to listen to and to see the animals around me. It's kind of like getting into the heartbeat of the environment. It's a technique I'll use for tracking the desert elephant. To track here, I'll be on foot and traveling light as I attempt to pick up my first signs of the elephant. These trails along here, this soft sand, is where most animals will walk. Rather than walking on these rocks, it's perfect for them. So we'll just keep following this trail along here until maybe it will get to a road and widen out a little bit. The reason I'm on this side of the path is that the sun is coming from the opposite direction. This is a good giraffe track, and I can see it because of the shadow that the sun is casting on it. And into this area here, I can see the toe of the giraffe. The elephant track is much shallower because it's got bigger feet. So the shadows are very important to me. But the sun's rising and I've got to get going.
It's not long before I get my first evidence.
Good news, we can see at least there's ellies around and it's old stuff. So I don't want to follow that. I'm looking for something which is much more recent, what we call the active track, not the passive track.
Elephants have definitely been here. If I don't find something more recent though, I haven't got a hope. But that's not the only thing that could stop me fulfilling my quest.
I'm just going to go over to the shade and take some cover because this is lion country. Behind any of these rocks there could be a lion there or over there.
The risk of lion won't put me off, but the absence of fresh tracks is still a problem.
I've been tracking for a few hours now. Still no signs of any fresh elephant track. But I'm heading for these rocks. The ones on the right and ones on the left have created a valley. And I'm hoping that's going to funnel any wildlife that's here down through there.
As I get closer, I find signs that I'm heading in the right direction.
This stone here is it's been rubbed smooth by elephants for thousands of years probably. And there's mud in here, and the mud should be on the ground, but it's got caught in the cracks. It's come from the elephants' bellies and their sides where they rub themselves to get rid of parasites and give themselves a good old scratch. But it's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something much fresher.
The conditions are challenging. In Namibia, temperatures can be as high as 42 degrees centigrade, dropping to as low as -5 at night. But I persevere, and eventually I find what I'm after.
Fantastic. I'm over the moon. We got our first elephant track. Now they're really hard to see because of the sun angle, but look at that. I'm not sure how fresh that is. I'm going to keep going towards that valley and pick up another one.
These elephants have enormous home ranges and can walk up to 30 kilometers a day in search of food and water. It will be a long trek, but heading for the valley, a natural funneling for animal movement, seems my best course of action. And when I get there, my instincts are proved right.
Loads of elephant tracks all over here. They're sort of spreading around and parting and then coming together. So that means that it's a breeding group. It's mother, some aunts, and some weaners, but I haven't seen any small ones yet.
Not far away though, I find a track to complete the set.
Whew, I found a calf. And there it is. Tiny little track. If I stick close to the calf tracks, Mum won't be far behind.
But the elephants seem to be in a hurry. I've got a lot of work ahead of me if I'm going to find them by the end of the day.
They're moving quite fast. If they relax, they kind of drag their feet. But here's Mum. We can see it's just pushed down in the ground. And there's the baby.
I continue to search, but today's hike to the valley used up a lot of time. So for now, it's the end of the road. The elephants will have to wait until tomorrow.
What a day, just sitting around the fire reflecting on it. the heat of the African sun. And the Ellie's one step ahead of me. So there's one up to the Ellie's, but there's always tomorrow. In the morning, I'm more determined than ever to catch up with the elephant. But they're moving fast and the conditions are tough. It will take all my skills as a tracker if I'm going to pick up the trail. Some tracks are hard to see, and I'm looking for the slightest detail. And what I've seen here is I've seen some grass and leaves have been pushed forward as the Ellie's gone through here. It's very hard to see. But this pattern of disruption going that way, some of these twigs have been slightly shattered, but not very much. And that's really interesting because that blade of grass has just been gently bent over that twig. Tells me that I'm still on the tracks of the Ellie. I'm on the trail, but it's increasingly difficult to track on this terrain. It's almost impossible tracking on this stuff. Look how hard that is. And I've just been looking at really small detail along here. Little bits of vegetation again, just like further back. I can see they've been creased apart and little stones have been pushed out of their sockets. And that plant has been pushed forward. I'm still on the trail, but when I come to what seems like a dead end, I find something I've never seen an elephant do before. Look at this. This elephant has come along here and it's climbed up through here, put 1 foot there, 1 foot there, and gone all the way through this gully. That's pretty impressive. I didn't count on having to track elephant over rock. It's difficult, but it won't stop me. And then, look at that. It stood on a rock. The stone has been pushed into the soft sand, and there's a scar here where a piece of granite has been pushed back by its foot as it gets traction. I think I picked up the trail again, and then I find out for sure. I just can't tell you when I come across a confirmed, identifiable signature track of an elephant, having come across rock, how good it makes me feel. So I've joined up the dot to dot where it came in, over the rocks. We've got tracks coming out here which are fresh, so we're bang on again. And as the terrain changes back to softer ground, I find even more evidence of elephant. Look at this. You can see where the elephant put its trunk down and laid it down on the ground. The trunk would have fitted perfectly into here. Relaxed a bit, ridges here, and moved it around. It's the first time I've ever seen that. I'm getting closer, but I'm coming across lots of tracks in the area. There's so many around, I'm getting confused. All I need is a sign that one of these is the most recent. Look at that, they made a mistake. Bingo for Max. They broke a tree off, branch off, from a tree a little bit further up, and they plonked it in their tracks. So, ooh, it's wet, and it smells just like the toothbrush I had the other day. A little bit oily, but that is so fresh. Oh, look. See, even got a little bit, tiny bit of hair. This means I'm hot on their trail. There's no getting away this time. And look at that. Right on a track that's fresh. No other animals on them, no birds, nothing. Sorry, Ellies, there's no getting off the hook this time. I'm hot on the trail of the desert elephant. I've been tracking for 2 days, and I'm certain they're not far away. Okay, I know I'm close, because these elephants rested up. The tracks are fresh. There's dust storms, but I know I'm close. I've got to go into this bush now. It's going to be fast. Look at that, more trunks coming up, more there. Drags his feet. This Ellie is not far away. Definitely, I can't miss it this time. The trail leads me onto an open plain. I'm exposed and vulnerable out here. But if I'm to catch these elephants, I have to take a chance. And the gamble pays off. There they are. Just ahead of me. A few hundred meters is the Namibian desert elephant. A childhood quest come true. I'm going to savor the moment. While I lie here, I'm just working out the wind direction. I'm thinking of all the things that Keith told me about. Because here we are, I'm right in the middle of this plain. Perfect lion country. And the evidence is close at hand. There's a dead zebra over there. It's a fresh kill in the middle of the plain. But I won't let this deter me. I'm gonna get it closer. The closer and closer I get to these elephants, I've got to be thinking about my cover for safety. What if they charge? Where am I going to go to? There's no big trees here. There's nothing to climb onto. So I'm going to go really carefully. I'm seeing a creature that is still so majestic and huge that the quest was worth it. All the hours tracking over rock, the midday sun and the heat, the bugs. I wanted to do this on my own because it's such a precious moment. And if it's something I could tell my children about, it makes it all the more important. It's an amazing privilege to be so close to such creatures because it's almost as though they give you the permission to be with them. It's almost as though they stamped the path. If they didn't want us to be here, then they would have chased us off. But also there's something about Africa and the mystery and just being in the bush, feeling as though you're safe, but not really. And if there's a lion here, it knows that I'm here. And it might be thinking dinner. So with the threat of lion, I'm not sticking around. I've completed my task, and it's time to leave the elephants behind.